We're live right now.
All right. Before we move to the next, I just want to explain to the crowd that President Chisholm will typically be in this position, but he is on a business trip to Annapolis with the U.S. Coast Guard. He works for Mercury and had an important meeting, and so he wanted to be part of it because he could do it virtually, but didn't want to run the meeting from the television screen. So as Vice President, I get the job tonight. So
I appreciate that, Steve.
you bet. The next item is the approval of minutes. We all got a copy of the minutes. Are there any changes or issues with the minutes? All right, hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as printed. Item G, the treasurer's report, cash on hand and the bills payable.
Absolutely. So our cash balance on hand as of February 28th was a deficit of $1,099,778.18. We did have receipts from 3/1 through 3/28 of $1,427,541.77. Also a transfer from an investment account of $1,800,000. Transfers from our LGIP capital projects, or the FD 49, of $25,336.07 for our total receipts of $2,153,099.66. Also during March 1st through March 28th, we had our expenditures of $1,860,642.39, which is also our total expenditures for that same time. So our cash balance of hand as of March 28th, 2022 is $292,457.27. All bills are recommended for payment as shown on the attached list dated March 28th, 2022 in the amount of $862,128.90. Of those, the pre-approved checks are $462,513.94. along with board meeting checks of $399,614.96 for that total bills to be approved of $862,128.90.
All right. Are there any questions about the bills? If not, roll call.
Do we need a motion?
We need a motion, I guess, to vote on it first. So I'll make the motion to approve the list of bills.
I'll second.
And roll call.
Hack,
Yes.
Kowalski, yes. Jaeger,
Yes.
Geckerman,
Yes.
Chisholm.
Yes,
All right. Next item is the clerk's report.
Thank you to everybody that is donating for post-prom. Many individuals and companies are making that possible and a good time for the kids. Also, David Ashenfelter, $100 donation for the football team, and John Tillman, some paper for his grandson's teachers, Mrs. Walters and Mrs. Master, and to the art department.
And an update, I just solidified 200 soft tacos from Taco Bell, okay? And then 600 boneless wings, along with wedges from Buffalo Wild Wings for post-prom, just FYI. And we now have all the bus drivers set up for post-prom, just an FYI on that.
All right. Thank you. All right. Item I, the Horseman High School Student Council report. And for the first time in 2 years or more, 2 years plus, we have our student council reps present for us and not virtual. So I would introduce Bianca Arndt and Olivia Freiberg for their report.
Okay, so beginning with student council, our student council constitution committee met last week and we discussed and revised the constitution, mostly focused on some requirements to be a part of student council because we realized after going through COVID that it's a little struggle, so we made it a little easier. The other classes besides the seniors voted for their class officers and then the next year's student council officers. And then we will be starting the Student of the Month committee again. We began working on that, but we never really finished. which we're starting to get on that again, which is ran by Olivia and I, where we will choose a person from each grade as student of the month.
Okay, and then for Key Club, this month we did the Belize mission trip, shoe and sock drive, along with school supplies. We also did a broken bread food drive. We have many upcoming volunteer opportunities such as the Sandy Claus Rescue Setup, Project Linus, blanket making, and the Kiwanis Breakfast. For National Honor Society, we'll be having our banquet this Sunday where we will discuss our accomplishments this year. We will also be inducting new members of the upcoming year and discuss the pillars of National Honor Society.
All right, thank you very much. Item J, the citizens input portion of the meeting. We have a citizen input section where citizens can address the board. There's some policy and rules on that, but instead of going through all that, we'll just start. The first requirement, though, is if you care to address the board, you need to announce your name and your address. So if there's anybody present who would like to say anything? Okay, thanks. I'll close that section of the meeting then, and we'll move on to K, Superintendent's report.
That's us, everybody. All right. So, really excited to have some great students, coaches, volunteers here to celebrate what's all great about Oriole Nation. So first off, we have one of the premier ice fishing teams in the state, and that's a fact. I don't want to get into what should have happened because I think we've all been through that controversy, but the bottom line is they're champs in our book. And at this time, I want to introduce a big round of applause for Coach Pat Colby, if you would. Right here. Wherever you want to be. Florida State.
Can we get everybody together? That's part of our.
Okay, everybody. Okay, so I'll tell you what. I'll move everybody over here. That's part of ice fishing. Come on, get over here.
All right, so we have our, first off, thanks for having us tonight. It's an honor to be here and be recognized in front of the school board. We really appreciate your support, Mr. Sadoff, your support, as well as Ms. Freeman's support at the high school for our fishing team and our club over the years. This is our 12th year of having a team. These ladies and gentlemen, as well as parent volunteers, are part of our state championship team here in 2022, which was at Lake Peatwell and Castle Rock in the center part of the state. The state tournament moves every year around the state. And these ladies and gentlemen took second out of about 60 teams. Appleton North took first place with 251 inches and we had 238. We had a 14-inch fish disqualified, which would have won us the event. We're not going to get into that. Super proud of these ladies and gentlemen for how they fished that day. That system was really hard to figure out. A very tough bite. There are a lot of schools that caught just like one fish, two fish, zero fish. There was a pretty significant gap between the top five and everybody else. So they worked extremely hard. They pre-fishing on Friday, kind of figured some things out, and then put it to work on Saturday and did really well. I'd like to recognize all of our team members here. Jenna Krupp, sophomore. Laura Miller, sophomore. Owen Zemer, our captain as a senior. Behind him, Brady Now, captain as a senior. Michael Fields, sophomore. Sawyer Went, sophomore. Jackson Goldowski, sophomore. Those that aren't here, Isaac Weiss, junior. Did I miss anyone? Nolan Stark, senior, also one of our captains. Callie Zemer, junior. And then two freshmen, Logan Supley and Aiden Price, were also part of this team.
Jeff McDowell.
That's Aiden Price.
Jebby?
Jeff wasn't on the state team.
Not for state, sorry.
It's not only the tremendous work of these young ladies and gentlemen, but also the great gentlemen that are standing behind them as well. And that's a cornerstone of our program is our parent volunteers and dads and moms alike. But all the help that they provide, we could really not make it go without their help. So Jason Now, Ron Goldobsky, Todd Cross, Matt Fields, Corey Krupp's been part of this for a long time as well. And a lot of other parents that help out at all of our other events. They have been instrumental in making this thing become what it's been. So, yeah, this is the second time we've been the state runner-up. 2019 we were in lacrosse as well, and it's the 5th year in a row we've been in the top 12 at state. So the consistency of our ladies and gentlemen doing awesome at the state tournament. You guys have anything?
Yeah. Any of the senior captains want to say anything?
Brady, you're never shy.
I think you need to recognize the coach though as well. He puts in a lot of time and effort for these kids, and I think that goes unnoticed in a lot of cases. So but we notice it. It's a big thank you. We get to meet a good group of parents and things like that as well. So
Awesome. And I just want to say on behalf of all the parent volunteers, Pat, all of you guys, I've been able to see on the ice too, in the way that you handle yourself, the fun that you have, and the way you represent us is awesome. I have more pride going around when I tell people about our high quality school and that we have one of the best ice fishing teams in the state. They said, "What? You guys?" Oh yeah, and it's not even close to. You got to practice. You guys get after it. So thank you, and parents couldn't do it without you guys. And Pat, it was one of your dreams. How many teams were in ice fishing when you started it 12 years ago?
Like a dozen maybe.
Yeah, and how many are in it now?
There were only 60 at state, but there's about 120 some around the state that have teams. Yeah.
Cool. And what I love about this too is it's a lifelong skill. You guys won't stop doing it after high school. So thank you guys very much. So who's a freshman, sophomore, or junior? Raise your hand. Freshman, sophomore, junior. Raise your hand. Come on. Come on. Are we going to make a vow right now to bring back the title next year? All right, enough in a second. Are you ready? All right. Let's hear it one more time for our ice fishing champions. You guys get down to the front. We'll get down a little so we can see the other fields. There we go. There we go. Awesome. Thank you guys. One more time for the ice fishing team. Good job. Thank you. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. All right. So now, Carl, where you at? Carl will pop up in a minute. We're going to now recognize the rest of our athletes in ice fishing, or they're athletes. Matter of fact, they get up and are more dedicated in the morning, I think, than a lot of people. We got up at 4 that one morning to get up rocking and rolling. So good job. So if we would now, Tom, Coach Monty, if you would, and then all power lifters that are here. Come on up, please, and stand over here. All power lifters. So Carl, if you want to introduce Coach Monty and the power lifters, and he'll take it from there.
Yeah, I'd like to welcome Coach Monty to our board meeting to recognize all of his state qualifying
power lifters. And Mr. Anderson would also say how excited he is for you to be here. And thanks for taking time and representing us well. You back, Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, I'm there. Am I cutting in and out?
You were a little bit.
Apologies.
So thus we'll turn it over to Mr. Monty to introduce and talk a little bit about powerlifting.
All right, well, we'll start with a thank you to the district. A lot of the other powerlifting teams in our conference, they're clubs, so they have to do their own fundraising and everything, and a lot of kids have to pay for their own stuff. And a couple of years ago, Matt Bertram allowed us to become a school sport, so now school covers a lot of those costs and makes it really easy for them to compete. So thank you to the district for doing that. A couple weekends ago, we traveled to Appleton for the state competition. We went up on Friday and we helped set up the meet. There were, I think, 575 athletes. So we're setting up a meet for that many kids. Then the meet went Saturday and Sunday, lifting in the morning and the afternoon. We had some highs and some lows. It's different lifting in front of that many people at state. I don't know how much we know about powerlifting. So you get 3 chances at 3 lifts. So you get 3 chances at squat, 3 chances at bench, 3 chances at deadlift. And you just see how much weight that you can lift for those 3 with proper technique. So you have 3 judges just staring you down as you're doing this. And if your hip is a little high or your foot moves a little bit, the lift might not count. So at state, it's with USAPL judges, so like national judges and everything. To qualify for state, it's not like you have to be in the top whatever. They set a weight that you have to hit with your best bench, best squat, and best deadlift for your weight class. And if you hit that weight, then you qualify for state. So we had 11 kids qualify for state. We'll go through the ones who are here right now. So we had Ella Humphrey qualify, Amber Guardado Velasco, Lexi McCourt, Kennedy Balthazar, Olivia Freiberg, Bianca Ard, Ethan Seaton, and Edgar Basoria. So congratulations to these guys. We had 4 freshman girls qualify, which is really impressive for them to get there. And then Amber was our highest placement. She placed 7th. They podium and medal up to 5th, so pretty cool, pretty close for her freshman year. Anything you guys would like to add?
Nope, before you go anywhere, I want to thank you guys for all the work that you do. I know one of the things, if you're in the winter, if you're not wrestling or in basketball or in hockey, to stay active and doing something is a huge deal. And it's great that you guys stay active. So thank you for doing that. And it's kind of neat too, where you can, like as a freshman, can see a lot of success. It's based on weight and how much you can lift. So good job, everybody. Appreciate it. And also later on, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Mothi. You started this program how long ago?
I think this is my 7th year doing it.
7th year, and then
Yeah.
now at home, you're lifting some things too, some children that are getting bigger, correct? Yes. So just want to know that later on. I don't anticipate you staying for another half an hour to an hour when we're going to talk about it. But Mr. Mothi is resigned, so we're going to need another strength and a weight trainer or a powerlifting coach. And on behalf of myself, all the students that you help lead, and the families that you've impacted by providing this opportunity, thank you so much for all your service and all that you do. And that also means there's a powerlifting position open. Just an FYI out there. You can do it. You might not, you're going to need a couple of years to get to where Mr. Mothi was. But thank you guys so much. All right, you guys get together, get a picture quick. All right, here we go. Get together, guys. All right, awesome. All right, so going through now, Mr. Anderson, we had wrestling, and wrestling had a couple kids go through sectionals, but no all conference this year. So see you later, powerlifters. So now if you want to talk a little bit about our boys and girls basketball season, and we have a couple athletes here.
All right, can everybody hear me? Is my internet working?
Yes.
Yep.
Good.
All right, so yeah, our boys and girls both had great seasons. Both teams had unexpected to the teams they played, but not to us, upsets in the playoffs. And it was great to see the school spirit and the work and dedication that our basketball teams put in this year. And as I told when it comes to girls basketball, Coach Gill, he was allowed to retire from teaching as long as he continued to coach basketball. And Coach Wallace did a great job with his first year as a varsity coach in his first year at North Fond du Lac, and I think their future looks bright for both programs.
Well, thank you. So what I'll do, Carl, so I've got a couple here. I'll introduce them. So if we could have Bree, Lauren, and Rainier come on up. So, and then I'll say a couple things, and then Mr. Anderson, if you want to add in. So first off, we'll talk about Rainier's second team all-conference. Coming from Iceland. We only get you for a year on loan.
Yeah.
So you can go back and dominate your senior year in Iceland, right? Are we going to see you in the Olympics soon?
We'll see, we'll see.
Yeah. One of the things about Rainier is that when he came here, and I know that he was temporarily staying with the Immels. I think the Immels are back there, right? Yep. He was temporarily staying with you, right? And that's what, about 6 months ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you have not probably been a basketball family before, but you are now. Yep. Yeah. That was neat seeing your dad at an event other than just soccer.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
excellent. And one thing about Rainier too, which was kind of neat, the boys won their first game in the playoffs in 15 years, and then they won another one. And it was really neat to see the pride and everybody get excited. And Rainier, at the end of the last game of the regular season, hit a shot as time expired to have Coach Wallace beat his alma mater Amro. Then ironically, he came back again and hit a shot in the last second to get us to go to the regional finals. So Rainier, congratulations, and thanks for all your hard work. And then we had our girls team, and our girl team had some ups and downs, but overall played really hard. And we have two people up here right now. We have Lauren Stetbacher, who's your sophomore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Lauren's sophomore, and she was all conference, honorable mention, worked really hard. I think you were all conference last year too as a freshman, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so second, honorable mention. So next year, we're going to look for great things as she takes over leadership on the team being a junior, because we now have our senior scored over 1,000 points and has been a rock, if you will, of this program all the way from her sophomore year. I remember, I think Lily was a senior and you were a sophomore?
I was a freshman.
Or a freshman. So I remember when I was at the game, I said to Coach Keel, I said, so do you have anybody playing up, any sophomores or anything like that? He goes, no, but we have a freshman. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, Bree Rock. I said, seriously? He goes, yeah, just wait till you see her play. And from that point forward, she's not disappointed, worked hard. And this year was really excited towards, as we got into the playoffs, we won our first game. And if we would have had a little better start in the first half, looks like we could have done really well. So congratulations to Lauren and to Bree. Now, Bree, if you could you tell them a little bit about your opportunity coming up and where they can help support beating childhood cancer?
Yeah, so I was nominated to play in the All-Star or Women's Basketball All-Star game on June 29th in Wisconsin Dells, and all donations, I have to raise $500 to play for this, but all donations go towards childhood cancer. We have met our goal already, but it's out there if you would like to donate.
On Facebook?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so excellent. Do you guys have, Rainier or Lauren, do you have anything that you want to say? No, I'm looking forward. I mean, we have success in the postseason now. Next year it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
So thank you guys very much. Let's hear it one more time. There you go. Thanks. All right, Mr. Anderson, turn it back over to you for just a quick recap of high school sports in the winter. Looking forward to the spring.
Yeah, so I think all of our teams finished on a obviously losing the playoffs is never a high note, but where the programs finish, they have bright futures, and I think our programs are going to look at growing, which for me as the athletic director, a little different than coaches. As long as we have more and more kids coming out, I'm excited, and I think that we're going to have that. And our, believe it or not, our spring sports started, and the wonderful tradition of postponing spring sports games has begun with girls softball being postponed tomorrow because nobody has playable fields. But hopefully we'll start to get some better weather and games get going next week for all the teams, and we're excited to get rolling. Then one other thing that is nice is we get to showcase our facilities at the OAC. We will be hosting a softball regional final, or sectional final rather, on June 2nd. So we'll get to showcase our community and our facilities, and I'm excited about that.
All right. Well, thanks, Mr. Anderson. You guys have any questions of Carl? All right, thanks. All right, so the last celebration that we have tonight, if at this time that we could have Victor and Travis come on up. Yeah, Victor and Travis. Yeah. All right, so we have an academic poll for our conference. And these two gentlemen, and you can see a picture of the other people a part of that academic poll. We took 5th overall, and these two gentlemen led the way by medaling. So if you would, Victor, how did you fare in the academic poll?
Well, I mean, I won, so.
Yeah, you tell them.
I won
What did you win in? What category?
general science.
Nice. Was that hard?
No.
All right. All right, let's hear it for a breeze through general science for Vic. All right, Travis, how about you? How'd you do?
Second place in physics.
And how was that? Do you have any advice for us?
It'd probably be easier if I were in physics.
That, see, you don't even have a physics course at school, but yet you took second in physics. Pretty amazing for Travis. So now, what grade are you guys in school?
I'm a sophomore right now.
Okay, Victor?
Freshman.
Nice. So are we going to see some more domination in the academic poll?
Probably.
Yeah, can you get out there and recruit some other people to really help us dominate?
I'll see.
All right, well, I'll take that. So let's get you guys have anything else that you want to say? Nope, all right, big smile. They do a lot of their speaking with a pencil, everybody. Let's hear it for Chad and Victor. All right, well, thank you guys very much. Now, if you'd like to stay, family and kids, you're more than welcome, student athletes. Otherwise, we might have a long day at the prison tomorrow or wherever else that could be, you know. Go from there. Yeah. Have a good one. Thank you guys very much. As we give a pause for people to go where they need to go at this time. Awesome. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna open it up. I have a couple of administrators that aren't able to come tonight, but we do have some updates. You saw that they were included. One of the things that I did see when we looked at the plus deltas is the presentation. So what we're gonna do is we will start with Chris Schultz and Judy. So Chris, if you wanna just give a quick update of student services.
Good evening, everybody. I've got a few things to update you on, aside from the report. So in our SPED department, we're working on caseloads right now and getting ready for fall. So we're looking at our numbers and our needs. We're also preparing for the transitions from early learning center to FLC, from FLC to BAMS, BAMS to high school, and then our seniors who are moving on to post-secondary or on to employment. So those things are taking place. I'd like to a shout out and a thank you to Judy McHugh for her work on high cost for special ed, and those who helped her. That would be Maria and Bonnie, Karen, and Kim Sales. So high cost, we report students who incur cost that is above $30,000 a year, and so we get some aid, and we have to report how those dollars were spent and what we use them on. So it's a kind of an involved process. So thank you, Judy. Do you want to wave? Anything you want to add, Judy, to that?
No, I don't think so. You pretty much summed it up. It's just a process and kind of time consuming, but it's almost done.
Yes. Thank you for all your work. And then the only other thing I want to add is board members, I purchased a book for you, and I asked Erin to share it. It's just kind of a simple book on how special ed works. It kind of talks about your role and just kind of summarizes some different things that would be important for you to know, just the goings on, what my role is, teachers, just different things that make that system work and some of the laws that we need to be aware of, just especially on the board.
So Chris, if you would you mind ordering 4 more?
Sure.
Yeah, so what I'll do is, and Chris gave me one, what I think I'll do is I'll hold on to that one until we get one for everybody, and then at our next meeting, I'll give them to the board members. And then Chris, and come May or June, after they, read and go through it, one of your reports, you can kind of take a little time to go through and answer some questions. But that way you guys all have it, you can hold on to it, and it'll be a great resource. It's got all the acronyms in there too. So I think there's about 97 pages of acronyms.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of vegetable soup. Do you have any questions for me?
All right,
All
well,
right, thank you.
all right, we'll turn it over to Adam in person for teaching and learning.
Thank you, Mr. Sadoff. Yeah, probably the biggest thing again right now is we're just in that state testing season. So if you're in any of our buildings, it's going to look a little bit different at times. So we concluded our ACT testing for our 11th graders earlier in the month. And thank you to the high school staff and Samantha for all their help with that. So that's concluded, and we just have some makeups in some cases for that. And now we're shifting gears where our 3rd through 8th graders are doing their state testing. So that's going on now, just started a couple weeks ago, and then through the month of April. So again, our schedules can be a little bit different at that time, and kind of across all different buildings, but there's a lot of moving parts to that. So, and then leading up into early April, our 9th and 10th graders will have their state assessments. So again, just a busy time with those end of the year summative assessments. And then I also put in the board packet just a little update on our interventionist. That's a new position we had this year, and that was for our 6th through 12th grades. So I just threw in a couple data points there just on some of the things that we've seen so far. And just, I think one of the biggest things, especially for that 6th through 12th grade intervention is on my end, is talking to the students and finding out from them, hey, what do you think of this class? Do you think it's working? And so I do a lot of informal assessment on that, talking to kids, and I'm usually talking to them when the teacher isn't there or when they're not even in the room, just so I can kind of get that real take from them. And kind of right now, from the students I've talked to, we're at 100% satisfaction rate from our students on, hey, do you feel like this is helping you, not just in this class, but outside of this class? And do you feel comfortable? Do you feel like it's been a good thing for you? And again, most students aren't telling me, hey, this is the most fun thing I've ever done in my life. It's not about that, but they see that it's beneficial and that we're addressing in their eyes needs that they have academically. So, and then our data backs it up to on that learning end. And probably the biggest thing that I've said before, and I'll say again, we look at interventions in our district. We'll really look at, that data in the intervention it's great if we see growth there. We're really looking for our kids learning. We look at measures outside that intervention. So if they can perform in that classroom, that's great, but hey, we want them to perform outside of that and really see that learning has taken effect. So again, those numbers that you see there are illustrating that, and we'll keep growing and looking for great things as we keep moving forward with that. So, and I'll leave it at that. If there's any questions, I could definitely address those now.
Thanks, Adam. Mike wasn't able to be here, but I'll Mike Gonzalez style, all the information that you need plus more you'd ever want for Bessie Allen is all there. They had a big Days basketball game last Thursday, or that went off pretty good. So a lot of good things going on there. And as Adam said, looking at the Ford exam that's happening now. And then Carl, are you there? Samantha couldn't make it tonight either, but we got prom coming up, correct?
Yep, prom's coming up on Saturday. Admin side of things, we're pretty good to go, but I know Miss Fox is putting all the finishing touches on everything, and I think kids are excited. Ticket sales wrapped up on Friday, and everything hopefully will go off without a hitch.
Excellent. And then I know that we have post prom. I think there's last count I saw 215 people going to post prom, so should be good. Yep. And then looking forward to the quarter was just over last week, and see how those grades come in, and moving forward with graduation now coming up. We have the top 10 for our district for our flyweight conference, but I will, like the next meeting that we have in April, I will invite the valedictorian, the salutatorian, the top 10 students academically, our solo ensemble winners state qualifiers, and see how they did, vocal and also instrumental. And then also which of our students won the scholarships for the state level for their academic prowess. And so that'll be coming up. So we'll have more students here at our April 20 or the April 25th meeting. So hopefully we'll pack the house again. Carl, you got anything else?
Nope, not at this time.
All right. And And I want to give a shout out, I know that $50 for prom seems like a lot, but a couple of years ago, it was changed where prom now, the kids really like to have it off-site, and it's at Whispering Springs, which is a whole different dynamic, and it's a whole different visual and feel. And tickets are normally $25 if prom was here, and that didn't include dinner or anything. Now, when the kids, the nicest thing is kids go to Whispering Springs, they have their dinner there, so it's not what kids are going to what restaurant, and that extra added cost or the awkwardness of do I buy for you or do I not buy for you? So that's all taken care of. And then the dance and crowning are all out there. Then and that's actually the students are charged $45 for that, and then $5 goes to post prom. But one of the things about post prom, the post prom committee gets a bunch of donations for food. Oriole Nation gives thousands of dollars for that. I know there's a kayak. Every kid will get at least their $5 back for coming and staying, and that's up at UW or at YMCA in Oshkosh. Johnson Bus donates the 3 buses, and kids half drive the bus there and back. So it's a really good, we're bribing them to make good decisions and have fun. And they normally have a lot more fun than they ever thought they would. So it's a good thing. So, all right, moving on. So we're going to go now to Carrie Jo and Lauren. So Carrie Jo taking over CNI 5K through 5th, and then Friendship.
Okay, thanks. So in my board report this month, I wanted to highlight a couple of things. Partnering with our community, we have Courtney Gow, who was initially scheduled to be with us just for 3rd quarter as a student teacher. She's going to continue through the remainder of this school year. That placement is going really well. So we're excited for her to finish up her student teaching with us. Erin Luther is serving as her cooperating teacher. And she is also going to shadow some of our 4th and 5th grade teachers as well, just to help her get a broader perspective of elementary. We are looking with the announcement of our 2 retirements of Noelle Pilot and Julie Kramer. We looked at our staffing at FLC and had some opportunity to make some adjustments internally. So we are pleased to announce that Amanda Winkler is going to be moving next year to a 4th grade team. We're going to increase our 4th grade to 5 sections with one of the FTEs that was created with the retirement. And then we are going to reduce down to 4 sections of 5th grade. And that remaining section is going to be filled by Jessica Rashid, who will be moving up from 1st grade. So those are both internal moves, which then leaves us with 2 vacancies at the 1st grade level. So we just posted for those today, and we are hoping to be able to recommend candidates to Erin and then in turn have him recommend them to you at our April board meeting. So our hiring is underway for those 2 positions. And then we are also still looking for a bilingual bicultural transitional teacher. And that position has been posted along with an EL teaching position in the event that we would not find one or the other. And fortunately, we do have some applicants that are coming in. So we're going to be looking at those and again, hope to have that position filled for April as well. And then our FLC staffing would be complete for the upcoming school year. We do have our forward exam testing underway right now at FLC. So our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders have all started that testing. That's going well. We are working with our leadership team to begin working on planning for 2022-2023 school year, which it's hard to believe, but we realized today when Lauren and I were meeting this morning and just kind of double checking dates, I think we had maybe after, like not including break, maybe 8 weeks of school left with our students, which is coming up really quick. So we're underway with that. Our conferences at FLC earlier this month were very well attended. They typically are. And we had another successful book fair. So I want to give a shout out to Lauren and to our staff. Lauren helped organize the book fair this year and did an outstanding job with that. It was well attended. And again, we had extra staff on hand to help out, and I really appreciate the teamwork that everyone puts into making any of those events a success. So I also had a note, I wanted to just give Lauren an opportunity if she wishes to give a summer school update, and then we can come back to the rest of my board report.
You bet. So I may have mentioned this at the prior board meeting, but we are currently able to offer a getting ready for, starting with 4K and actually going all the way up through like a 5th grade review. So we have a classroom teacher who is willing to lead those courses again at every grade level, which is awesome. I checked our enrollment today, so we've been open about a week and a half. Families have been able to register, and we're already at about 90 students who have registered for summer school. So that is awesome. As far as summer school, I don't know if there's anything else you want me to touch on. I know we have, I think, 2 or 3 different teachers who are proposing just enrichment only courses. So it's nice, also to have some additions other than just the getting ready course. Carrie Jo, I was just gonna do a quick shout out. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder about the Fancy Friday. FLC last Friday, we kind of took the opportunity to talk a little bit about cafeteria etiquette and just manners. And we had all of our students and staff dress up fancy, which we had quite the variety. Wedding dresses, prom dresses, looked like some maybe first communion dresses on some of our little girls, but regardless, it was just a really neat event. Our E3 staff and students made paper flower bases for all of the tables, and then some of the teachers took the opportunity to make placemats in their classroom. So it was just a really neat event, a lot of school spirit, and it was really cool to see all the kids so happy about it and the staff.
Yep, and pictures will be coming. I'm getting pictures in from staff members, and we're organizing those. So watch our website and social media throughout the week to see what that looks like. Also, anything else, Lauren, before I go on? I just want to make sure. Yeah, lots of good stuff happening. I wanted to highlight, again, I provided the data, our monthly data for our Lexia data points. I know that Adam last month in his report had shared out our STAR data. And then also we have our F&P data that correlates again across the board. So looking again at this month, we're seeing that continuous growth in our students. I wrote the board report last week, Wednesday, and at that time we were looking at 62% of our students that were now working within grade level. And again, we had started the year with 17%. So already since last Wednesday, we're now up to 64% of our students. 10 more students moved into that above grade level or within grade level. So again, when we started our school year, we were looking at a target of 79% of our students meeting that objective. We are well on our way when you can already look at, again, even a 2% increase in less than a week. So we are certain we are going to hit that target and exceed that. But I definitely would appreciate from our board members, through Erin, if you can give some feedback on whether or not this monthly data is helpful for you, just so that I have a better sense of what kind of information I can share out with you to, again, show the progress that our students are making at school, because there is a lot of great stuff to celebrate. And I know sometimes that's not the message that's out. And I just want to make sure you're aware of really what is happening. There's a lot of hard work going on with our teachers, with our students, with our staff, with our admin team, and it's work that we're really proud of.
All right, well, thanks, Carrie, Joe, and Lauren. Board, do you guys have any questions of them? All right, awesome. I got that text. I got an email on some staffing stuff. We'll talk tomorrow. Excellent.
Thank you, thanks.
Yep, thank you guys, and thanks, Lauren and Carrie, Joe, appreciate it. And then Tiffany couldn't make it. Tiffany was ill tonight, but at the Treffert Way, things are going well. They had their meeting before us. They're going to be looking. Oh, Meg, you're here. You want to give an update on the Treffert Way? Way to pinch hit.
Yes, pitching in for Tiffany. I can never quite replace her, but thanks for the chance to share. We're continuing to move forward with our enrollment and lottery that took place. And so we have our 2 families that have our seats for next year, starting to get to know them and work through that. Right now we have 29 on our wait list. So we are fielding lots of phone calls and doing lots of education around that with the families and what that means and what that will look like if we're able to open any additional seats if they're shifting within our population. But really proud of our team for eliciting such a great enrollment number for this year with very little advertising this year. Additionally, I wanted to make sure that I shared with you one of our favorite events of the year. Our spring gallery is coming up. We welcome any board members that would be interested in coming to check out all the good work we're doing at Treffert Way. That will be held on May 10th in the evening from 5 p.m. to 6:30. Our theme this year is career fair, so our students are exploring passions and careers that they may partake in their future, and doing a scholastic book fair that same evening. So that will be a great event to come check out what we're doing. If anybody has questions, you can reach out to myself or Tiffany. We'll get you connected with that. And then on the governance board side, had a few applicants to expand our board. So we're hoping to expand over the summer to have a few more community members join our team to continue the good work. We're doing a lot of scheming and dreaming on our playground development. So looking forward to sharing a larger update on that in the summer, and some really good community partnerships happening around our older students in the couple middle school grades that we're looking forward to share as well. So any questions for me that I'll try to do my best Tiffany Dolan impression if you've got them this evening?
Oh, thanks.
All right,
a lot.
thank you, Mike, for letting me pitch it. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Meg. I appreciate it. Thanks for turning your camera on. You did much better than I could have. Well done. Well done. Excellent. So now what we'll do is, although not on here officially, I do want to open up the floor. Dave, man, do you have anything that you want to share? Buildings and grounds, summer sports, anything, spring sports, anything you want to kick out there?
No, we're just, we keep plugging around, keeping the buildings clean, safe, and healthy. We're hoping to get on the sports fields here real quick. This week's not looking good with another 1.25 inches of rain coming in the next 3 days. Cleaning up the grounds from all the winter snow and garbage that we had this year, and then we're just figuring out spaces, working with everybody for next school year and for summer school.
All right, I just want to give a big shout out to Dave. There's been, with some staff in and out, he and his team do a great job maintaining and pitching in. There's not one, I don't think, Dave, there's been maybe just a handful of days in the past 3 months where you haven't had to ask one of your team to pick up and do something else. They've always stepped up and did it. So thanks so much for your leadership and your team and what they're doing.
Thank you.
Any questions of David? All right, Ms. Putzer, are you there? Financial.
I am here, thank you. Hello, everyone. This is big budgeting time for us right now. I am working on the 21-22, starting the budget revisions now, and just trying to forecast what the end of the year is going to look like. And then those revisions will happen in May. I will bring those to you for approval. And then we'll have a pretty good idea of what the end of the year is going to look like. I'm also working on the 22-23 budget. We should have a first look in April, as well as a 3-year forecast, and that will help us with referendum, with the operating referendum that we are working on right now. So busy with that. We are finding some revenue, which is great news for both this year and next year. I found out on Friday that we received about $70,000 in high poverty aid. We used to get that in the past, but the last couple of years we haven't received it, and this year we did again. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but we are going to get about $70,000. We also got $30,000 in food service, and we got about $30,000 in special ed. So that's all for this year. And for next year, and Aaron, jump in anytime, they are opening up a third wave of emergency connectivity funds. And I've already sent in our invoice for devices, well, not our invoice, but our quote for devices for next year, for Chromebooks for next year. So we're going to try to claim those under this program. And the hope is to get reimbursed for all or a big chunk of that. So that's about $90,000 for next year. And then finally, we have an RFP out for a benefit consultant agency. 4 companies responded to that RFP, and we interviewed all 4 of those. And we were really excited to be able to say that we were staying with the Horton Group. They've been, and you've all met Alex. He has come in and talked to you about insurance and benefits. Alex is no longer there, but we will be working with Tim Beaton, who we've talked to a few times now, and we're going to be speaking with him again this week on self-insurance. So that's kind of the next stage in insurance, and we're trying to set ourselves up for that. That's where we're going to really find some savings in our benefits and be able to keep the great benefits that we have. So lots of good things happening in our office. The team is extremely busy. We're also training on Skyward. We're adding a new module that will hopefully help with efficiency for all of us, for Kayla, for Sarah, for Bonnie and I. So working hard on that.
Thanks, Maria. No, and then what we'll do is we do have an item for our, for the consultant coming up. And that, so that'll be a formal recommendation. We'll talk a little bit more about that time, but I think Maria hit it right on the head. We're really excited. We're going to be looking at maintaining high benefits. I call it Operation 4.7. CPI, looking at what we need to continue to pay our employees to keep them here and seeing what's going on around us. But the only way that we can look at that and be fiscally responsible is looking at everything on the table. And I think we have an opportunity to maybe maintain our good benefits, our great benefits, but save some money some different places. And that's really when we went in and interviewed these 4 companies, we were looking at who can help us navigate this new world, if you will. So excited about that. And yeah, I never thought I'd be so excited about insurance, but I kind of get all jacked up about that nowadays. So, but thank you, Maria. Any questions for Maria?
Yeah, Maria, I have one. The new monies that you mentioned at the start of your report, how does that affect the deficit now? Is that being able to be applied to that?
Well, I haven't really analyzed it to that extent yet. There's also, we've got a decrease in mobile home taxes. We've got increases in HRA is looking like we're going to fully utilize that. So there's things on the expenditure side that I'm still working on.
Okay.
So there will be some offsets for sure, but I'll be able to speak better to that next month.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, and so what's happening now is Maria works on the end of this budget next year. She'll come and we'll have a budget revision like we've had in the past, where it'll be more accurate to what we had spent. And that's a big deal when we start looking at aid and we start looking at how the state treats us. And it's also a more accurate picture of how we actually utilize our resources, the revenues coming in, expenditures out. So, and then also she had talked about, when we look at structurally moving forward, when we continue to increase pay for our staff, we're looking at I think it's not 6.1 anymore, it's 5.7 in transportation increases. So that when we look at the question of an operational referendum, why we would and what that money would be utilized for moving forward. So Maria's working on that also. And that will segue into our next conversation, which won't be very long, about the focus group and kind of an update on that, because we're going to have our next meeting on the 18th of February. So anything else for Maria? Yeah, she hit it right on. I mean, with inflation and everything going on, we're seeing an increase in costs that we haven't seen before. Normally, like for instance, our utilities. Maria, when's the last time we were over budget in utilities?
I don't think since I've been here, we haven't been over budget in utilities. For the first time we are this year.
And that doesn't mean we're using more. It just means everything like we've seen is the cost, gas, all that's kind of gone up. So it is what it is, and we are going to keep working. So thanks a lot, Maria. That's a pretty good report there. Did you have that all prepared and going? Well done. Where are you at? Are you way up north in a log cabin?
No, not that far north.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Do you guys have any other questions of any of the administrators? All right. Well, thank you guys. Pete, you got anything from Minneapolis? Must be a new computer. Yeah, the head's shaking. I can hear that. You should be good. Cool. All right. Moving on, update on referendum process and focus group. We had a handful of people come in and had a really good conversation. Clint from Bray was there, shared our initial results. I want to thank Rick said some really good feedback about how a different perspective of how the data and information could look, and some good points, and that's what that whole focus group was about, so thank you. Also, we had some really good comments about the Oriole Athletic Complex, and how is that like a whole alternate question, whatever, and what I'm gonna be doing, I'm working with Chase Rettler and also with Clint and CD Smith to have priorities, like maybe priority 1 would be like lights on the baseball and softball. And then maybe priority 2 is something else, and priority 3. So when we do a survey in May, we can have different priorities, and it won't be just like either support all the athletic complex or not. So just another nuance, which was really great about that focus group that I got some feedback on that will help to drive and change what we're looking at. So from right now until the 18th, and we have that meeting at 5:30 on the 18th, there is no other board meeting on the backside. Steve?
At the meeting, we talked about maybe moving it to 6:30, and it doesn't matter to me, but.
Was it 6:30? I thought it was 5:30.
Let's see, well, when was the last one?
5:30. It was at 5.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine either way. I just wanted to make sure we had more people that maybe were coming home from work that could get here on, but 5:30 works.
I'm open for anything. I'm pretty wide open that. You guys want me to do 6?
Again, if that's what we decided at the meeting, I don't recall specifically what, other than that.
I think we, being online and whatever, I mean, if I'm all for getting as many people as we possibly can, and if having it at 6 o'clock or 6:30 would be better, I'm cool with that. I'd recommend 6 then, instead of 6:30, because then, I think we could be done by 8. Would that be good then, 6 o'clock? Sound good? Okay. All right. So we will do that. I'll have that. And then, so I'm also currently working with Bill Foster from School Perceptions, and we will have at that meeting, and probably out a little earlier, all the people that were there and the board, I will send information to about what a possible survey would look like, how that would be. They have so many. One of the things you pay for when you have School Perceptions is their experiences and all the different documents that they have created. So a lot of it, we're looking at some of the stuff that was done at Kohler. There's some similar questions, nuances, but how does that survey look, looking at our capital improvements, and then also looking at our operational referendum. So that event on the 18th will be that presentation kind of redo with new ideas and information. And then also kind of the first rough draft of that survey, which then Bill should be here either remotely or in person. And then we'll really get that hammered out. And then really get that finally approved on the next board meeting, or even at that time, so we can get it out in May. So that's kind of where we're at right now. All right, so then continuing on. We have a big day coming up next Tuesday. I don't know if everybody knows, but it is election day. So, on Tuesday, just make sure we got voting. It's all day at all our different precincts. And we have 6 people running for 3 school board slots. So I want to thank everybody who's running that we're here. And I know that we've had candidates here at different meetings at different times, and probably watching online too. So good luck to everybody. I'm pretty excited to know that 8 people wanted to be considered 5 of the people who are my boss. So I'm really excited about that. And I look forward to working with continue work with Steve and with Vicky, and then the 3 people that the community believes would best represent the community on the board. So look forward to seeing what happens. What will happen is after the vote is done, we'll get results at night, and you guys will get them similar. So once we get those, Sarah has your emails and stuff. So whenever we get anything, it's going to be unofficial until it's canvassed. Canvassing normally is a pretty benign thing that we'll post, and people can come and look at that if they want. And then the official results, that'll be like probably on Thursday that we'll do it in here, but we have to post for that. So we will do that. So we should know results at night, and then Sarah will make sure that we get those information out to you guys as soon as we get it. So thank you for running. Thank you for all the thoughts that you have put into this process and the learning. What I'm really excited about is we now have 4 plus what we have here and Pete that have a better understanding of what the school board's all about. And it's probably a little different than what you thought at first, but I think having everybody stay in that race, I think I really appreciate that. Plus, we're going to have opportunities with policies. We're going to have opportunities with the facility committee. or focus groups. So please, if you are selected or not, please stay interested and with the district, and always let me know, because we can use people's ideas, and everything we do here is for our kids and for our community.
So how are you doing this last, what do you got, about 9 days left, 8 days? Because I remember doing this a few times, and down to the wire, it was nerve wracking, I guess would be a good word, and fun and all that stuff that goes into it. So I just want to in general say, have a good week and good luck to all of you. So.
Thanks. Yeah. And I think also you're seeing a little bit that social media puts another slant on things, and people have definitely an opinion on things. My recommendation is, I know social media is really important to get the word out. That's probably your number one way that people can get to meet and know who you are. But in public light, as you move forward, social media sometimes isn't the most important thing that can help you feel that you're doing things, and however that is. So I really appreciate you guys putting you out there, especially, in the time. I'm really impressed with the candidates, and thank you for being involved. So please stay involved, because without an active group in our community, we don't work, and that's what we need. So. All right, so good luck, everybody. And I can't wait for those signs, when people are going to sign. What are you going to do with all those signs when it's all done? Are you excited? Yeah.
Put them in the scuttle hole.
Yeah.
For next time.
Yep. You did that, didn't you? I think that was good that nobody put the, well, maybe there are some dates on there, but you can put some duct tape over that for the next time. Yeah. All right, so next, reflect on boardsmanship training. Really, I got some really good feedback. You're gonna see that we've already instituted some things. Number one, those reflection notes. I'm gonna have those ready for the board at the beginning of every meeting. So you'll be able to come in and I will mail them, stamp them, get the addresses, all that. So we'll do that. That Pride Point, I really appreciated the thoughts that you guys put into that, and pointing things out, and the shout outs to the staff and the students and the work that they did. That was really cool. So we're gonna keep doing that. Also the Plus Delta. I will then tomorrow, Sarah, we will update that Plus Delta, the shared doc. So when I put out an update, and you saw that last time to the whole board or the whole community, the whole district, that put up an update. So I'll do that again, where it's just the main points of what went on, so everybody knows what's happening. But with that Plus Delta, I noticed on there, some of the things about not getting to some things enclosed. I noticed some things on there about, that you like the time for the administrators and the directors to share. So those are things that when you fill those out, one of the key things is Plus, what's working well and doing, but Delta, then it's up to me to figure out that Delta or wonders and really infuse those into our meetings, so that you are heard and we're more efficient and effective. I have not gotten information from Ted yet, and I just haven't had time to change our agenda to have more of those bullet points on there from what our mission and things, but I will get to that too. So any feedback on that?
I like it. So I think it was nice to see everything, and some of the changes already coming to life today. So
cool. And you will see that in each one of your folders, you have a Plus Delta. So make sure that you leave that with me. Okay. And if you put your name on it, if there's something individually you want me to contact, that's cool. When I put them in there, I'll just put them in there. You guys all know, probably you can figure out there's only 5 of you who did what. So I know that, and you worked really well. But if there's something specific that you want me or wonder, just put that on there too. So, yeah. So let's keep doing those. And then the only other thing that I'll show you is this is also for the board candidates. I will continually update this. I sent you guys this if you have a paper copy. And what it is I'm going to try to continue to do this and add more and more to it, so it becomes a living, breathing document. And what it is it's just all the meetings that we've had so far and all the meetings we're planning on having up through August, so that we can be very thoughtful about them. There'll probably be a policy committee meeting in there somewhere, but I want to make sure that when you reflect on the time served on the board, the meetings that we had, and then looking forward, so your calendars, you can be sure to have those dates in there, that we can be very planned. And really, one thing that we're going to keep doing is adding to specific things that are going to be done each month, like our meeting in May, the 11th. So we're going to celebrate our music next in April. Maybe we'll even hold till May for them. But what we'll do is in May, we have Anthony announces what the musical is. And then we do all of our contracts with teachers, that first one. We will have a second May meeting. It is before Memorial Day, so we're gonna have actually 2 in May. The first one's gonna be pretty much just music and HR, but you can see all that reflected there. And you can see those different focus group dates also. So I want people to have as much information and for the community also to be involved and know what's going on. And with that said, I will change that focus group on the 18th to 6 o'clock, and you'll get more money on that, or more information on that as we get closer. And before we go to new business, I just want to take a second to reflect on Al Beekle. Al Beekle has been, he passed away, it was yesterday with his family, and not with his family was with him. And he, 74. And he actually, Steve, ironically, he got into being the Fond du Lac County executive the same year you got on the school board.
Yeah, I noticed that in this story about him. And he was great before that even. He was, I think, on the county board and county board chair and stuff. And then when the position was created, there were a couple executives before, but, not for real long. And then he took over. And I saw something on the news before I came. Some of the Channel 2, I believe it was down here today, and some of the staff members there, the district attorney and a couple others, talked about how great he was for them and how he kept everything working together and keeping people working together. And he loved the job, and that was interesting. So that means 28 years without anybody else in that position. It's gonna be interesting to see how that turns too. So.
Yeah, I've known Al for forever. I'm actually sit on the board of Envision, Greater Fond du Lac, which is the FPEDC and also the Chamber of Commerce. He sits on that. He has been a stalwart. I mean, I read something about career politicians and how, people kind of get a rap or a negative thing about people who spend their lives in politics. And I think there's people like Al Beekle that it's really good that he did. Because you had somebody who, with the knowledge and the experience that he had, he could handle things in a way that somebody who didn't understand those things could. So, he was continually reelected, and he did love his job. And he's a very, very kind man, and it'll definitely be a new era. But I think officially just wanted to bring him up at our school board meeting, and to his family, we wish them the best. And Al Beekle has made us stronger. And one other final thing is, when I came to North Fond du Lac, one thing that the county, which I was really excited about, and Al was a big proponent of that, it really helped us realize that Fond du Lac County is just about the city of Fond du Lac. It's about friendship, it's about El Dorado, it's about all the way down to Waupun, over to Ripon, Rosendale, Brandon, North Fond du Lac. And Al Beekle is a proponent of making our whole entire community stronger, not just the city of Fond du Lac, and that I'm very thankful for. So they'll have big shoes to fill, but we will miss Al Beekle. And with that, I end my superintendent.
All right. Second. All right, then, moving to new business. The first item is policy update and edit recommendations, the first reading.
So we had 3 board members here, and we went through them. Nothing really controversial. There wasn't any changes that the board members or the people of the committee that mentioned for the second reading. Steve, you had gotten all the information and was able to read that. Any of you guys at the committee meeting have anything that you'd like to add? Okay, just one of the new things is there some bigger policies that we're putting towards administrators and committee to take care of, and we'll be working on those. But other than that, Steve, do you have any questions of any of the things?
No, I went through it, and I felt seeing we had a policy committee that I'd lead the policy committee to the policy committee meeting. And, otherwise, if we were all gonna attend, then we could just do a workshop or something. So I think the policy committee is actually a good idea. It's actually a standing committee that we've always had. So that's good. And then when we do approve it on the second reading, we have time to review some of the changes and stuff like that, or discussion, and they're good to go.
Yeah, so you're not gonna get anything new from me since there wasn't any changes in there.
Okay.
So, if anybody sees anything, question, and I love what we're doing now. It's not only to what our policy states, but it's best practice. Because if we're gonna be changing, talk about policies, we bring it up, people have time to look at it, then there's a month to digest it, make some tweaks if necessary, and then it gets approved. So, I think, we'll be in good shape. Pete, you have anything you wanna add or a question you have?
No, I don't.
All right, so, with, no other recommendations of changes from what I put in there and other questions from the board, that's all we have for the first item.
Right. Next is to discuss and consider contracting with the Horton Group as our insurance consultant.
All right, hey, Maria, you there? I'll kind of cover this. You covered it a little bit too. This contract, it doesn't reach the threshold of $70,000 to bring it to the board for approval. But it's very important that you guys know about this, because this is one that really helps us to really streamline and provide great benefits for our staff. They also have an HR aspect to it too. Maria, I would say, and agree or have a comment, if we would have picked any one of these four, we would have been very well taken care of. Do you agree?
I agree, yeah.
The reason that, so Horton Group, there were some changes and things, and USI, which used to be associated, we know some people that are on there that we highly, highly respect. The Hayes Group, which turned into Brown & Brown. I know some of those, one of the two gentlemen there, very highly respected. And then M3, they did a great job. We had talked to them, and they're kind of industry standard in many different, not just education, but in many other areas. But we ended up with the Horton Group, and the reason that we're staying with the Horton Group really comes down to, well, number one, cost. It was the most cost efficient that we had of the four. But more so than that, the service that we got. And I'll just, Maria, do you want to talk a little bit about how that put it over the top?
Sure. As Aaron said, we would have been in great hands with any of them. The costs ranged from $24,000 to $48,000. So, but we had made up our minds before we even talked to them that, you know, we're going to get what we pay for in many senses. So cost was not our deciding factor by any means. But we have worked with the Horton Group, I would say, for, gosh, at least 6 years, Aaron.
Yeah.
And one individual in particular, Melissa, who is kind of our day-to-day person, she works with Bonnie and I. She will talk directly with our members, with our staff. She will then, she's kind of that liaison between staff and a clinic, or staff and diversified, when staff doesn't really know where to even start to get their questions answered. So she's very good at communicating with us. We don't have to wait long for an answer at all. Very knowledgeable. Just we really trust them, and have a proven track record with us. They also have a wellness person who we've been working with. We meet once a month and she is part of our wellness committee. So they cover us in a lot of different aspects, and we have nothing but good things to say. So they kind of set that bar, and we were wondering if there's somebody out there that could beat them, and nobody really did. So we're really happy to be able to stay with them and continue the relationship.
And add to that, there actually went through one company that we did interview before we did Horton Group, and we're like, oh, we're gonna move. And then Horton Group came back, and what we really did, Horton Group has really taken care of us, and now we have somebody else that's gonna be taking the lead. And you are going to hear a lot about self-funding from me. You're gonna hear a lot about what that looks like, what that is, because that is the one way that we have left that I see that we can really pull different levers to save money on insurance with still having awesome benefits. So there's different elements of it, and it's doable, but there'll be more. Before we go there, I will work with Maria and with the Horton Group, and you will be well informed what that means if we do it, what the costs are, why we're doing it, how that all works. So get ready for drinking out of a fire hose and learning about some self-insurance stuff. So it'll be pretty exciting. And that's the one key when we start looking at the resources coming in, how we can afford to also continue and look at increases in pay. So really excited, and we went into this RFP with knowing that whoever we pick is going to have to deliver and give us a lot. And we're asking more out of the Horton Group we ever have, but I feel very confident that we're going to get some great partnerships and some good reality of what's going on to help us. Anything else, Maria?
Nope.
Oh, and then one final thing, big shout out to Bonnie Dietert. She sat with Maria and I as we looked, and she's a big part of how our benefits go, and we value her decision greatly as we look at who our consultant should be. So big shout out to Bonnie Dietert.
I'll give you a heads up on my first question, I should say, not one question, but having been in offices with salespeople who sell health insurance and everything else, are we big enough to make it work and sort through the salesmanship to the facts of it? And I'm sure you guys are certainly going to do that and make sure it's best for the staff. But that was always a key question I remember that was talked about back then.
Yeah, and it's, I guess, right now in the past, I mean, and they have metrics now. They have different actuary computer programs that can say this is what, because there's so many different elements. And when you're fully insured, like let's just take, for instance, there's really 4 elements of insurance that you look at, from your networks to your third-party administrator to your stop loss to your pharmacies to your prescription medications. When you're fully insured, you don't do any of that. It's the one, they take care of all those things, and then you have GHT, you have whatever. And what I'm learning more and more, and what we're learning more and more, is you have, instead of having one, you have 4 different partners, but those 4 different partners, we work with Horton Group to do that, and those 4 different partners is how we create our plan and how that plan looks. So there's really been some evolution, and I don't want to be crude about this, but if you're ever thinking about starting a family, you think, what's the perfect time to start a family, you know? And there really isn't. And that's where we're kind of at when we look at self-insured. The bottom line is coming as we go through, do these things, the money, we're going to know that if everything goes terrible, worst case scenario, this is how much our insurance will cost. We will have that number. And that way, when we go in, we will be eyes wide open to what that could cost if we go fully insured. But there's I think Waiwega Fremont is self-insured. There's a lot of other ones that more as we go here and moving forward. I think there's a lot of upside, but there'll be a lot of research and there'll be a lot of learning, and that will also then, the goal is to create the narrative and get you the data so that when this decision's made or how it ever looks, you guys are very, very well informed. And I feel confident in the recommendation. And I'm not right now because we just have a lot to learn. One of the first things we're going to do is, what's it called, Maria? A fire list? Or what's that called?
I forgot what it's called, but it's basically a questionnaire or some sort of application that goes out to members, and it's more of a deep dive into what medications they're on and their families are on, so that the underwriter can take a better look and know what our risk really is.
Yeah.
So, you know, if it's a one and done type situation, or if it's an ongoing, and we just don't have that data right now. So it's something like that, Aaron, fires. I can't remember. But
So if you kind of look at it, what it is, anonymous, we use this information to know where we're at. So, you know, we know what our risks are. And like Maria said, we could have somebody who had a one-time thing. You know, it could be a prenatal thing, it could be an organ transplant, it could be something, and that's not going to continue. But if we go to actuaries and we're fully insured, all those different things come in. So first thing we'll do is send out a survey, because what we've also found, we have over 500 people on plan. They call that counting belly buttons. So our staff is maybe a third of that. The rest is families. So there's a lot of, what doctors do you use and all those types of things and what medications. It's amazing how when you're fully insured, how we're getting raked over the coals in prescription medication. And we don't have many other options to do it because we get our pharmacy from that fully insured. So the first step is that, and this is what Tim's going to help us with, and Melissa, is get the data of who are we? What do we look like? Who are we? And then once we get that, start to look at, okay, what can we do? What's that stop loss look at? How do we want to start looking at networks? Do we want to provide a couple narrow networks, a more robust network? Do we want to differentiate, different shares of our policy costs? So just a lot of information out there that can help us save money, maintain great programs, and put us in a better place. It'll take some work, but I think it'll be well worth it. And the more and more we get into it, the more we'll share. So just FYI, put that on the screen, on the horizon, because we don't have any other tricks. There's none. Now it's just a matter of what can we do and how can we leverage things, which means we need to take more responsibility and take on some of these things instead of just be fully insured. But I think the risk on that can be a huge upside.
Yeah, and it gives us a lot more flexibility and negotiating power out there too. So right now we just don't have any. And it also gives us the opportunity to get more data and then be able to focus in or laser in on where we need for our wellness committee to have to kind of, control some of those conditions maybe, or help some of those conditions. The other thing, Steve, is there are co-ops out there. We are definitely big enough, but it might be to our advantage to start the way Tim described it, the guy that we'll be working very closely with, is dipping our toe in rather than going fully insured. There are co-ops out there that we can join and just kind of spread that risk to start out with. So there's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
We're still learning, but we'll definitely share out what we do learn.
Yeah, and just from a standpoint of our employees, because right now we have $4,000, $2,000 deductible, but our employees are responsible for $600, $300. So we have a responsibility with Diversified to pay that other. So you get an EOB and it might say EOX, but you really don't know X because there's still some of that HRA that's going to cover. That'd be gone because it would be us and we would have that. So there's a lot of nuances that when we start to really dissect this, there's a lot of exciting things that can happen if we go in with our eyes wide open.
Is there a place that we can go as board to look at what our current state is? Like, is there information for what we're offering today so that when this new discussion starts, we're able to have a good foundation?
Yeah, so what I would, I think, let me ask, so are you looking at plan design?
I would think just, my part goes right to the impact. And I think that's what Steve was talking a little bit about, the impact it could be on not only the district, but also the staff inside the district. So I don't know currently what, our current situation is with the staff and what we offer. And so I don't know if that's able to be shared.
Oh, absolutely. So summary of benefits, all employees get those. So I'll tell you what, just reach out to Bonnie if you want, you can get that. The key thing here is that we wouldn't really, I can't say apples to apples, but fundamentally we wouldn't change the benefit. What we would do is we would go on the backside and do different things that doesn't negatively impact our employees. It might be some work for some employees in some different areas, but we could offer the same benefits that we have. So we're not looking at plan design change, but we're looking at costs of those plans. Now, one part that Maria, one of the things that you have to negotiate your networks. One thing that I see is us offering different networks. We only offer one network right now. When you're fully insured, it's X. But we could say, hey, if you want to just do Aurora Magnesium, see if we can negotiate something and have that cost less. People want to use those two doctors. It is what it is. We want a more robust one. We can do that too. So there's that plan. There's our network. There's a really critical part of that whole thing. And that's something that's always been a big thing for our staff is they want to utilize the doctors that they have. So we want to be able to have those options available too. So as far as the plan design goes, we have all that information. You can get that, but in your mind's kind of conceptualize, this isn't about taking away any of our plan design. It's how we afford those. And the majority of this, our employees won't see any of the changes.
Yeah, but the majority, I just wanted to see what they would see.
Gotcha.
That was the part, just to have a good foundation of the impact.
You got it. Because there is some things like even with prescription drugs, when you start looking at some of these unique prescription drugs that cost a lot of money, there's a lot of different ways to get them besides what we have right now that save a lot of money. And we would have to get our employees engaged in that conversation. So that is one thing that possibly could. So more to come. The thing is that we're not leaving any stone unturned. We want to save money, but we want to maintain a great benefit. And this is the one way where we can see maybe some financial solvency.
So with all that there is to learn, and so it's you, Maria, and Bonnie.
Yep. And I can tell you, and Maria, maybe you can vouch for me. I'm really learning a lot, aren't I? I mean, there's a lot of people, like when we went through this yeah, but I mean, I feel pretty, I don't feel like I'm an expert, but I'm getting more and more. Before I'd ever make a recommendation, of learning. Like I just talked to Mike Hurl and Mike Vicentes from M3 and had some really good conversations. So yeah, definitely gonna learn a lot.
And not that so we're good as far as time-wise for everybody that has all this other stuff to do, their jobs that I need to take this on is.
Yep.
And we don't decide this typically till November, I don't.
Correct.
So.
And really, so one of the things that kind of maybe put your mind at ease a little bit, one of the four main parts of it is your third-party administrator, okay? We could hire UMR. So right now, if you look at the way that they base all of your renewals are about, do you have 85%, 90% use? Because 10% is administration fees. So we would not be the ones who get all the bills and all that. We'd have a third-party administrator. Very well could be UMR. The card could look exactly the same. It's just they would be administering our plan, but we would have all the different aspects behind that make that plan work. And the most expensive of it all is that stop loss. And Maria talked about that, where you can have co-ops or something called a captive. So there's different elements. So when you get into it, you can know that at worst case scenario, we're losing this. This is the most that we're going to lose. And then you develop your fee structure to make sure that we're good. So a lot more coming, but yeah, we definitely on our plates, this is something we need to do, I believe. So it'd be mostly,
Oh, I'm sorry.
so I said it'd be mostly Bonnie, Maria, and I, but then when we go out, we'd be very, it'll take our staff, the whole idea here is that we have high quality benefits. And I would love to save our staff money. I mean, we're going up 10%, 15% a year. The staff, it's increasing their costs also. I mean, the district has a higher cost of what that looks like. But I would love to get to a place where we can start to really flatline those insurance costs, give people options, and still have high quality things. And we just can't do that in our current structure. Maria.
Yeah, just two really quick things. There are several districts out there that, and I know the other business managers very well. So I feel like I could go to them, if there's something on the accounting side that we might be struggling with. The other thing is we're already self-funding our dental, so we're kind of getting a taste of that, what we need to do behind the scenes to administer that. So I feel really confident. I mean, it will be more for us, but we have really good partners. They're not going to leave us hanging out there to dry. So I'm really confident. And like Aaron said, this is really the only way we're going to be able to control costs going forward. We just don't have any more tricks in our bag to pull out besides plan really messing with the plan design, which we just don't want to do if we don't have to. So this is the next step. We've been talking about it for years, and we just feel like this might be the right time. But we'll let the data dictate that, and our partners dictate that.
All right, if there's nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion to contract with the Horton Group as our insurance consultant.
This is Pete, so moved.
I'll second.
All right, then, any further discussion? Roll call?
Chisholm.
Yes.
Goldowski, yes. Jaeger.
Yes.
Geckerman.
Yes.
Hawk.
Yes. All right, Motion carried. Number 3, discuss and consider extra duty resignations.
I just have Coach Monty.
Again, just for review, that's as the powerlifting coach.
Correct.
All right. Entertain a motion to accept his resignation.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Chisholm second.
Give it to Pete.
It's his last one. Hey, Pete, just an FYI, Steve said that you could have the second even though he did that, so just FYI, he gave you that today.
Throw you a little bone. All right, then roll call.
Geckerman,
Yes.
Chisholm,
Yes.
Hawk,
Yes.
Goldowski, yes, Jaeger.
Yes.
All right, motion carried. Number 4, discuss and consider extra duty letters of assignment.
All right, so just kind of an overall thought. We used to call these contracts, but as we move forward from an HR standpoint, these really aren't contracts because this isn't the main source of income. So they're letters, they're extra duty, or they're letters of assignment, okay? The board doesn't necessarily have to approve these. We always have, and I think it's a good practice to approve them. What I'm gonna recommend, and as you can see here, and Carl's on there, every sport has a list of coaches. And we don't like every year if they're coaching, we don't re-recommend them, but sometimes things get a little trickier because people are in and out. So what I'm gonna do is before every season, I'm just gonna put together a list, which I've given you guys, of all the coaches for that spring season. We're also on this one, putting Dustin Dyke, who is a defensive coordinator for football. We put him on there. Otherwise, that's all of our coaches, okay? So I want to continue to do this. So you're going to see Coach Dustin Dyke in the fall again. But I just want it so that we don't miss anybody and that we have an idea of how we have them all filled. What I would recommend though is that once we approve them, so they're approved to have this letter of duty assignment, there's not really a need to have them resign. I mean, in essence, if the board wants, if there's somebody who's not working out, they don't have to come back, they don't have to resign, they don't have to be fired. If somebody leaves like tonight, Coach Mothy, we could say, hey, he's no longer going to be coaching, but it's not necessarily a board action. So really what we could do is still always vote to approve these letters of assignment, extra duty assignment. But then if they leave that doesn't take another piece of board action, or we can keep going the same way that we have. So that's not part of the motion. That's just part of Aaron's marching orders moving forward. Really what I want to do is put forward the slate of coaches here, some which might have been redundant and already approved, but I just want to make sure that we have them all here. And then another is just add that Dustin Dyke for football, defensive coordinator. That's what I have on the slate right now. The other part is just in a conversation if you want to change practice.
I guess time-wise, it only takes a few minutes. At least I would like to see, a formal announcement, and then that also notifies potential candidates too that it's happening. Okay. I know you'll do a posting saying either way, but no, if we don't have to do a formal vote, I guess it's universally accepted anyway. We're not going to force anybody to continue in a coaching position, for example, if they want to resign. So it was more a formality. So, but again, I would be in favor of if you make a point to announce that somebody's leaving then. So. Okay, I can do that. We'll see how that. Many of us aren't here obviously on a day-to-day basis, so we may not catch wind of so-and-so isn't coaching anymore. It'd be nice to know that up front. So. Excellent. And then is this a good thing where before every season I give you a full list of who our coaches are? Yes. I think that's, yeah. And then you can see that we do have a board member, but they're not paid. They're a volunteer, as you can see that on there. So you're not technically approving her because she doesn't have to be approved because she passed the background test though. So, Carl, what do you got about this slate of coaches? Anything?
Just excited that they're all helping out our community because it is harder and harder to find people to coach, and we want to do our best to retain the good ones. So I'm just grateful for all the people who take the time and put in their talents and efforts to help out our teams.
And just an FYI, so next year, we're gonna go with that approved coaching pay. So that's gonna be coming next year. And then the only other thing on there is whatever the job is, that's what they get paid. But the head coach, if they wanna take some of their salary and give it for a different coach, they can do that. But we're getting away from, here's our pool, and we're gonna pay people and the coach decides. We're done with that, with the caveat that if the head coach says, hey, I wanna get somebody and give them $300 to be an assistant and I take it for mine, we're gonna be okay with that. But other than that, and Carl will put that into the coach's handbook, so that's all articulated well. And then next year it'll be all cleaned up. And remember that new pay scale takes in years of service and different things. So everybody's getting that bonus this year of $100 or $200, and then next year we'll be full in with the pay scale.
Question, Carl, how's the fall football coaching? Is it filling out? I know there's usually a big group of coaches for that.
Yeah, it's filling out. We really wanted to get that defensive coordinator solidified first, because that, for Coach Wolf, is kind of the most important position to have. And now that he's got that in place, he's going to look at kind of a slate of other people that are interested and start moving to interview and get those people in.
Okay, thank you.
And then could you just tell us a little bit about, the only new one on here really is Dustin Dyke. Could you tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, he's a Laconia grad. He played a little bit of football at St. Norbert's before deciding that college wasn't the right path for him. And then he got back into coaching middle school football for Laconia. So a bunch of the kids who are currently on the varsity team at Laconia played for him in middle school, and he was looking to get into coaching high school, and his sister works at FLC and saw our defensive coordinator position and let him know to take a look. And Coach Wolf and I interviewed him last week, and I think he's gonna be a great fit with our program, with our kids.
And you can see on there, we have Tess Rody, Madison's helping out with JV soccer. So you can see there's some really, Renee Corval, she's I think, is she at Marion? Is that where she's a student too? That's helping Jose out. Anyway, so you can, there's a lot of good ones that we've got on there. You can see Jacob Hop, Coach Hop's son, is gonna be helping out with baseball, so that's cool. Then there's a bunch of step backers in softball and baseball. Just if you want to know who's dad, who's kid, who's married to who, we can figure all that stuff out. But it's pretty much step backers when you look at softball and baseball, except for Coach Behringer.
Okay. All right. Well, seeing we have it on the agenda for this time, let's go ahead and have a motion to approve the extra duty letters of assignment. And I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? And roll call?
Hawk,
Yes.
Hager,
Yes.
Geckerman,
Yes.
Chisholm,
Yes.
Goldowski, yes. I don't have to abstain, right? I'm not getting paid.
Yeah, you get both, yeah. It's not that'd be nice to put on there. We try to get Steve to volunteer for middle school, but it just didn't work out.
All right, number 5, discuss and consider cooperative with Fond du Lac School District for boys swimming for the 2022, 2023, and 2023, 2024 athletic seasons.
And this would also be at the Oakfield, Dr. Flagg. I don't know if you know this, but he's an avid swimmer. His son actually is an Olympic caliber swimmer. Went to, I forget, Cedarburg or whatever, but actually might be training out in Florida or California. Always try to get this, but there's never really an interest. And now it's like, yeah, whatever. If you guys want to, we can. It's not going to deplete our wrestling or basketball program or powerlifting. It'll give an option to 1, 2, 3, 4 people who that's not their thing, but they can have a good winter sport. So looking forward and appreciate Fond du Lac. And now we would have co-ops with their boys swimming, with their girls hockey and their boys hockey. So really appreciate that partnership.
And this is just for boys, and that boys is in the winter?
Yes.
I believe the girls, aren't they, in the fall, the girls swimming, or are they co-ed?
Correct.
And the reason we're not doing girls is we missed that window to do the co-op, but we will in the next year, correct, Carl?
Yeah, that's the plan. I've been talking to David Fondy about that, and we'll figure that out as it comes. It'll end up working with whoever his replacement will be to get that going.
Yeah, Dave, I'll make a light check, he's gonna be the new principal. I know.
Moving on up.
Yep. And then Steve, if you saw, I put this in your folder so you could sign for the board on that.
But yeah, we'll got her there. Okay, good. Any further discussion? And roll call?
Need a motion, second, yeah.
Oh.
Sorry,
It's not like riding a bike.
it's been a while.
I'll make that motion too.
I need second the motion.
And roll call?
Clerk,
Yes.
Beckerman,
Yes.
Chisholm,
Yes.
Goldowski, yes, Jaeger.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. And then before we move to closed session, I just wanted to take a moment to say a few words with Pete. This officially being, well, not officially, I guess, but this scheduled to be your last meeting tonight as a board member, unless something comes up that requires a special meeting before the end of April. And, you know, I just wanted to mention, I've known you since 1984. I figured out when my wife got pregnant with our first child and we had to move out of the apartment. So we found a spot out here in North Fond du Lac, and I've stayed here ever since. And you were 2 doors down, you and your wife. And I think just my experience with you on the board, it's just been a very good board member over the years. You know, they're, for the most part, all have been good. Some are better than others. Some get more involved than others. But I note here that you used your engineering background to focus on facts and focus on what you believed was best for students, staff, and taxpayers. And I'll miss you here on the board, and on behalf of prior board members that aren't here that you served with, I'd like to thank you for your service, and we really, really appreciate it and wish you the best of luck. And I know you said you'll be hanging around, but you were a good board member, and thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate your kind words. And like I said, I'm going to be around supporting the arts, and I'll be around on the facilities group committee. But as we move forward, so not like I'm putting a for sale sign in my house. I'll be around.
And one of the upsides too is we might now have to pay him for doing all the work that he did for free because of the conflict of interest at the PAC. So I'm gonna have to go into negotiations now. I'm looking forward to that. But I thank you, Steve, for saying that, and I couldn't agree more. We've become having him on here. We've been becoming even more friends too, and that's great to meet people and see how they work. And you're coming in, so you'll be in person in April. We'll honor you there, okay?
Correct.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Then I'll entertain a motion to move to closed session to discuss and consider house purchase offer under state statute 19.851E, and to discuss and consider student expulsions under state statute 19.851AF.
I'll make that motion.
Second. And roll call?
Goldowski, yes. Hack,
Yes.
Jaeger,
Yes.
Beckerman,
Yes.
Chisholm.
Yes.
All right. We're in closed session. I'll call it brief recess.
Good luck. Good luck, guys. Good luck, Shannon.
Good luck,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks, Pete.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Good night, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
I'm gonna have to run down the hall, so.
Cool. All right, Oriole Nation, we are now turning off. Thanks, Pete. Just as you were talking, I'm like, oh, I forgot. I forgot to get the Oriole TV going. We are now signing off.
You got a 5-minute break?
You got it.
Please.